G'day, I'm Adam from Wholehearted Hypnosis. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about goals and how to not let goal setting get in the way of actually achieving something. Now, I know that sounds kind of backwards and maybe a little bit confusing, but bear with me. Now, people have an amazing propensity to set massive goals. And there's nothing wrong with massive goals. In fact, there's nothing wrong with goal setting. But I'm going to suggest to you that sometimes goal setting actually gets in the way of you achieving goals. And what I mean by that is sometimes setting these massive goals puts you in the position where you've got such a grand vision and such a great idea of what you want to achieve that you just don't know where to start. Now, I saw this quite a lot when I owned a gym. This was quite a few years ago now, but I would see people like the lady who came in and wanted to lose 30 kilos, or the young, skinny weakling, excuse the term, but that's what he called himself, who wanted to be able to deadlift twice his body weight. Now, these were great goals, but realistically, they weren't going to happen fast. And they thought they could achieve them in a really short period of time. Now, what happened in both instances was those people really struggled because it took a long time to get outcomes. So they're thinking big, and thinking big is great. The problem was they weren't acting small. So let's talk a little bit more about acting small and how acting small can help you achieve even the biggest of goals. So first off, I'm going to say something that might sound quite controversial because a lot of people out in the self-help space and even in therapy will tell you that setting goals is quite possibly the most important thing that you can do to get a result. And I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to disagree wholeheartedly because goals are unimportant when you compare them to action. Goals can sometimes get in the way because they are very firm and they can make it seem like no matter what you're doing, you're not getting that goal. And it's not the actual achieving of the goal, it's moving towards the goal that's important. So I'm going to suggest to you that the most important thing in achieving anything, a specific goal or a bigger vision, is action. It's the action that's important, not the goals. So this is where we come back to the idea of thinking big but acting small, because it's in small actions, in small changes to your habits, in small movements forward towards that goal that you start achieving. And in achieving and in getting closer, your confidence builds, and you start to see what you can really do and what you can change in your life to get better outcomes. And sometimes, and this is the kicker, the actual goal itself will change because you'll progress towards it and something might change in your environment, in your thinking, in how you feel, or in what you deem to be important. And in that way, that goal that you first set is no longer what you want to achieve. But that doesn't mean that that's a problem. It means that it guided you for a while, and now you've got something new that you want to aim to. So there's something to think about. You can set yourself big goals, and then if you try and take big chunks out of that goal all at once and get closer and closer to that goal, and you're just driving and driving and driving, you don't give yourself the opportunity to see if that goal has changed. Or if you might like to think about it this way, the goalposts have moved a little bit because it's not the goal, it's what underlies the goal that's important. So I would suggest to you that everything in your life is a process. It's ongoing. It's not about reaching an end point. It's about continuing the journey. And this is another problem I have with goals that I'll talk about in another video. For now, what I would like you to think about is how you can chunk down the work that you need to do, think big, but act small. So why act small? What's the whole point? Well, the thing is, if you do this right, those small changes compound. And that means instead of doing a huge amount of work all at once, biting off a lot and hoping that you can chew and swallow it all, you take little steps, little bites. You've got enough time, if you would pardon the analogy, to chew it up and digest it, small bits at a time, and you move closer and closer to where you want to get to. So let's think about this for a moment. What are some examples of thinking big and having big goals, but taking small actions? Well, here are 4 examples. If you want to lose 20 kilos, stop drinking sugary drinks. If you want to have a pile of cash in the bank, start saving $20 a week. If you want to play violin or any other musical instrument better, focus on getting one note at a time to sound great and then move on to the next note. Don't look at all of your scales and chords and songs and everything. One note at a time. If you want to sleep better, focus on getting to bed at the same time every night. And here's a bonus for all you business people. If you want more business, make more calls. Don't look at advertising and marketing and a million things that you can do. Do one thing and do it well. Make more calls. You pick up the phone, you will get more business. I've been reading some books about Egyptology lately, and they're very, very intriguing and interesting, and I'm deep diving at the moment, so it's very interesting. But one thing I started to think about was looking at the Great Pyramid of Giza. Look how big that structure is. Thousands upon thousands of blocks that weigh multiple tons each. Now, can you imagine trying to build that pyramid all at once? You can't do it. You have to do it brick by brick or block by block. There's just no way, no matter how good those pyramid builders were, that they just decided to build that pyramid and did it all at once. It was built over years, maybe decades, maybe hundreds of years. I'm not quite sure because the jury's out, right? But I'm sure you get the idea that even a monolith, a great structure like that, something that's lasted the test of time, was not built at once. You know, there's the old saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's completely true. Now, you might say, hey, I've only got 80 or 90 years of my life. I want to get as much done as possible. That's fine. Do it step by step, bit by bit. Goals, they are important, but it's the action that you take that will get you to those goals or get you closer to those goals, or better still, another way of thinking about it, continuing your journey of self-improvement, self-betterment, and finding out how you can live your life all in with all of your heart and all of your being. And one last thing about giving up. Most people give up because they get disillusioned when they bite off more than they can chew. They set this big goal, it's miles away, and they struggle to do the work to get there. They start, they stop, they start, they stop, they talk themselves out of it. And it's because they lack consistency. And you can get consistency in your journey by taking small steps. And if you set a really big goal, then it's probably a good idea for you to put some smaller goals in the way that you can aim towards. For example, people who climb mountains, and the big mountains I mean right now, they don't assume that they're going to make it to the summit all at one go, all in one go. So they'll hit base camp and they'll acclimatize, and then they'll go up to a certain altitude, back to base camp, up again, back to base camp. Then you have camp 1, camp 2, camp 3. Then maybe, I don't know, after that's the summit, and then we come down. Small steps, chunked down targets, and that's how you get there. Now, there's more to getting everything you want out of your life than just goals. And if you'd like to learn that, hit subscribe and or visit wholeheartedhypnosis.com. Thanks very much for watching.